currently there's like a bunch of states that are reopening. So Alaska, Colorado, Georgia, Minnesota, Mississippi, Montana, etc. There's a few more. And then there's 7 states that are supposed to be opening April 30th, which is in 3 days at the end of this month. And I was curious what you guys thought about it.
Tomorrow!
Is tomorrow the 30th?
Yeah, it is tomorrow.
Jeez!
Yeah, what the fuck?
Like, where are my masks? I need this.
But
What are you talking about?
I was just curious. So I saw a trending hashtag on Twitter, and it was from Elon Musk, and he said "Free America Now" because like so many people are so fucking sick of being cooped up in their house and not being able to do anything. I was curious what you guys thought, because apparently like there's an Oxford scientist that said, or a scientist from Oxford that said a vaccine could come as early as September. But even with the vaccine, like in the next couple months, like what do you guys think it's going to look like in terms of social distancing and fucking proper PPE? Or do you think people just like aren't going to give a shit? I was curious about, what you guys thought about that.
Sure. I mean, there's always going to be people that do their own thing, regardless of what, expert or official tell them to do is the right thing. So there's always going to be those outliers that are just like YOLO.
Yeah. For lack of a better word, YOLO.
Literally. But like when it comes to states, I think they all have their own unique atmospheres that they need to assess and determine what's right for them. Because, a giant place like LA is going to have a different population number, a different environment than say like Oklahoma City, something like that. And so
I think of Vermont. I think about like it's different when you're in New York, where like 100 families will touch the same door handle to get into their apartment building, as it is where Vermont they're 15 miles apart, like between each house, between all the acreage in their land.
Yeah, that's true. That's true. Yeah. But yeah, I'm curious because every time I go out, and I always say, I try to go out as
minimally.
Minimally. Thank you. As minimal as possible. Just because one, I don't fucking want to expose other people because I got to think about the grandparents and shit out there, and everyone just in general. But every time I go out, it's like it seems that people are taking less and less precautions ever since the plateau happened. And then now, even in New Hampshire, we've seen a spike go from, 3 deaths to 0 to 6 to 7 to 5, and it kind of just doing this loop that's going up and down. And I think people are taking less precautions as it becomes more in the mundane for people, I guess.
Yeah. It becomes more widely accepted that we're in a better place.
Exactly.
And I think what happens is when you're comfortable, that's when issues happen. I mean, that's why we had issues at the beginning, because everyone wasn't taking it seriously. So now that people have shifted that mentality, that's what happens too. It's you can see it everywhere. I see it in Boston. I see it at the like Home Depots and different stores and stuff like that. I feel like I'm the only one that's gloved up and masked up, and I only go there for like one-stop essential goings, but or even when you're at the gas station, I Purell like everything after I touch it, because you think you touch the pump, you touch the debit card machine, like you touch everything all at once, and then you put the card back in your wallet, and now it touches everything you own. So it becomes like you become a germaphobe. That's what it becomes.
It reminds me of that gross statistic that like every day, like dude, it's so fucking gross. And I always think about this, and not in the reason that you might think, but it's that every day you touch up to like 10 penises by grabbing door handles and stuff like that. You heard that gross statistic? And I think about that, and then I'm like, how many times do you think you touch something that's been fucking just has coronavirus on it, COVID-19, like fucking the virus, you know what I mean? So I'm like, if I'm touching 10 dicks, how many fucking virus molecules am I touching? So I mean, I've always had that in mind. I've always been a germaphobe since.
Yeah, what is the dick to virus ratio here?
Dick to virus ratio?
Yeah, please let me know, because if
anyone's doing a research
might be 3
project,
dicks to 1 corona, we don't know.
Dude.
Or for me, it's 3 Coronas for 1 dick.
If anyone wants a fucking doctoral research project, look up the dick to virus ratio, and you'll be the only one to do it. And when you get it, credit it to Torn Between Two Brothers.
Yeah.
Oh, that's fucking funny.
Google Spike and DTV.
DTV ratio is what we like to call it here, for short. Fuck.
But yeah, so I was curious, Arthur. I even asked Justin before the podcast because I was like, I don't want to like push Arthur's buttons by asking.
Oh, we're pushing your buttons,
such
baby.
a question.
Oh, of course.
But I think it's important, especially at this day and age, because you're an Asian American living in America, and when the coronavirus broke out, it was
that's a little. What is it called when you're just saying too much? Like Asian American that lives in America is kind of
redundant.
It's like
redundant
it's like that Louis C.K. clip that's
you're
like
an Asian American who's an Asian in America.
10 people died in a fire due to a fire that killed 10 people in the Bronx. Like, no, but so because you're an Asian American, and I know when the coronavirus. I know when the coronavirus started, there was a big, just like racial pointing of fingers towards China. So I was curious to see if anything has affected you, if you've seen any racial profiling or people staying extra distance away from you.
We know you're not from China. But for those of you tuning in,
correct.
Arthur is Taiwanese. Just a clarification.
No, but just as Asian American Asian American encompasses, Japan, China, like just Asian people in the continent from Asia. But
you are so it's so
I'm trying to be so fucking. I'm trying to be so
He's like trying
PC.
so PC.
No,
where are my lines?
Asia, continent.
I'm trying to be so PC that I'm coming out redundant because I don't want to break Arthur's sensitive little heart.
Because clearly I'm the most sensitive
Arthur
person.
has known us for 12
literally.
years. He's not going. He's not gonna be like, Brandon.
Oh God!
Did you just say Asian American?
Right. I'm not gonna be like Twitter. Cancel this guy. Ratio the shit out of him.
But no, I was curious to see if because I know California has a huge Asian American population over there, so I was curious to see if you saw any interactions that might have you kind of looked back on and you're like, oh, that was fucking weird, Maybe
not directly at you, but as a general,
as a whole.
Yeah.
Well, I mean, besides the fact that I've been kind of staying in my house the entire time, so human interaction has been quite minimal.
Well, even online interactions, because I've personally, I don't know about you, but I've seen online bullying of that, where it's people are discredited because they're like, well, your country kind of started it.
Especially
you know what I mean? That kind of mentality.
Especially coming from a president that quote unquote called it the Chinese virus, It encompassed that almost racial profiling to coronavirus. So I was just curious.
Yeah, I mean, I personally haven't experienced anything recently, and especially, if it was connected to this situation that's going on right now. I guess one thing that I've been talking a lot with my roommates about this kind of stuff. I think a lot of people that kind of exhibit that kind of behavior aren't able to differentiate between the Chinese people and the Chinese government. And I think those are very, those are 2 points that need to be clarified. Because I do think personally, in my opinion, that the Chinese government screwed up, didn't communicate about what was going on. And it's the Chinese people that are suffering, and subsequently, obviously, everyone else, because it spread. And so, I think a lot of people are frustrated, angry, hurt by this situation, and I think they just want some sort of outlet. Now, do I think this behavior is okay to exhibit? No, absolutely not.
He just goes, yes. I think it's perfectly fine.
No. No, but yeah, I can understand why they the kind of mentality that they might have. I would just hope that they're able to eventually come to the realization that, hey, it's not, the people that are behind this, and we can all come together we have to work together to get through this. It doesn't matter what race you are. So
absolutely.
Yeah, it's interesting to see how perfect of a storm it was that the Chinese New Year celebrations were happening at the same time, like when it was peaking. Well, not peaking, but growing more and more populous, like the coronavirus itself. And to see it just like spread it, and I continue to think of whatever that game is on Addicting Games, where you can literally see
Plague
like
Inc. Plague Inc.
So it's something where it's like you could see the virus spread, and you pinpoint where you want the virus to spread, and that's what it was. It was like pinpointing China, and everyone's there for Chinese New Year, and then it's spreading all over the world instantly because it's so that's the biggest thing. It would be like the virus starting in New York City during New Year's or something like that, and then seeing it take off from there because everyone will gather. But I believe Chinese New Year's would probably be much bigger and more populous as a whole, especially with the population of China and it being bigger than just New York City.
Mm-hmm. Oh yeah, that holiday is a huge deal in China and like Asian countries and stuff like that, because I almost want to say that, like, now correct me if I'm wrong, but I think it might be like a whole month-long thing, which is why like
something along those lines. It's not like a one-day thing like we celebrate. It's more it's a long period. It's more like Hanukkah than Christmas.
Yeah, if you're ordering anything from Amazon that either you know or don't know that is coming from like a manufacturer, don't do it during like Chinese New Year.
Oh yeah, Kat learned that.
Everything slows down.
Yeah, because she was ordering something and she I think it was like a dress or something like that, and it was like a 3-week delay because of the Chinese New Year, and she was like, "You got to be kidding me!" She's like, "I wouldn't have done it if there was any like warning or like big stamp that says, by the way, this is going to be delayed because of the Chinese New Year's." It was literally like, hey, by the way, this is getting delayed 3 weeks after she had already paid for it. And then think about getting a refund from someone in China. It's like, how?
Yeah.
It's not, yeah, right.
Take a fucking
that money's gone.
Yeah, literally.
That processing and time delay. You're not gonna really get anywhere after a couple emails.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah, true.
But I think the next question after that is there anything happening in California that you're aware about in terms of lifts of social distancing and shit like that, or in terms of like the shutdown, the lockdown?
So I know the original like kind of deadline for when social distancing may end is I think it's like May 15th or 18th or something like that. So we still got 2.5 weeks more to go. But I worried that it's going to get extended because there are some like small groups of people that are protesting lockdown and not wearing masks and just congregating all around each other. And
there's some states that have protested it, and they've actually seen a spike for the first time in a while during their decline because of all the protests and social gatherings that people are doing.
Dude, it fucking
against social distancing.
It's absolutely
beautiful irony.
Irony is the perfect word for that.